name me a singer that is better than Pod. I'll argue with you to death, and I think I'm right. I regret we didn't continue with Silly Fool. You know, that was I should have fought for them. My brother had a solo album about 5 years ago, and one of his songs had like 5 million views. I told him, hey, no, congratulate. And then you know what he said? He said, yeah, but that young band had 150 million.
พี่สุกี้สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ
Welcome to AM Hour.
Thank you for having me.
Before we are filming, we were talking about เด็กอินเตอร์
ครับ
We were talking about เด็กนอก
ครับ
Back then, what were you? You were เด็กนอกor เด็กอินเตอร์
Back then I was a เด็กฝรั่ง I went to international school starting in second grade. My father was American, so we were basically raised as Americans. Basically, I knew very little about my mom for some reason didn't talk about that part. So we basically grew up as เด็กฝรั่ง. And before I was just talking to you about how back then you used to hear the word เด็กนอก. That word you used to hear a lot, right? And I've noticed these past 15 years you don't hear that word anymore. So back then I would tell when sometimes, Suki เด็กนอก, like no, I'm not a เด็กนอก. เด็กนอก is a Thai person that goes study abroad, but they're still Thai, but I'm a เด็กฝรั่ง. There's a difference culturally. But nowadays, you don't hear the word เด็กนอก anymore. At least I don't, because all the Thai kids now, because they changed the law back in 1997, I think, that Thai kids can go to international school now. So everybody that can afford to send all their kids. So now you got a bunch of Thai kids they're not Thai. I was at Polo Club and I saw 10, 15 Thai girls, maybe 12, and they were all speaking English. I'm like, what's going on? You know, so it's different. It's changed.
But the topic that we are talking about เด็กนอก เด็กอินเตอร์ is not just the education, but it's stem to the cultures as well.
Yes.
Because to be honest, most of them are likely to be the upper class of the society. So we were talking about, you know, like how are they going to approach their life, how are they going to adjust to their peers and people outside of their class.
I'm surrounded by them. And I've noticed, off the top of my head, I've noticed 3 categories. The first one is they've chosen to be in the Farang bubble. I've seen it. They don't adapt. They don't try to adapt. Back during my time, you had your clique of Farang bubble, you know, back then. But it wasn't big yet. There was probably a little pocket. But nowadays, because so many Thai kids, it's a community now that I've noticed. Big community. And so I've noticed, I used to work เด็กอินเตอร์แล้วกันนะ who decided to be in the ฝรั่ง bubble. They don't care about the other side. They seem okay. You got the one that they have to change because they've entered the workforce. And they've realized, ไม่ได้อะ you can't. You have to understand the Thai culture. ระบบลูกพี่ลูกน้อง you have to know these things. And I've seen the one that they realize they have to change. And then there's some that want to change. You know, I remember during the bakery days, I had 2 staff, Thai, American, but they were born in America. But later on in life, they want to get in touch with their Thai side, so they came back to Thailand. So there's that's a rare one though. So there's that category too. So you have the one that, กูเป็นฝรั่ง I'm going to do this, you know, they don't care. You have the one that have to adapt because now they're working. And then you have the one that wants to adapt.
I was growing up in a Thai school. but I was fortunate to be studying at the international course at Thammasat University, and when I interact with a lot of elitists, a lot of rich kids, that's one word that stuck in my mind. It was like คนบางคนคือรวยแต่ดีบางคนคือดีแต่รวย so that was something that like and I growing up seeing people in both types like a lot of them were like a bit spoiled never think about other people how did you grow up and what would be something that you would tell your kids that okay son you need to do this
my father is from Indiana. His family at one time were farmers. So we were raised very grounded. When I was going to school in the state, all the Thai kids seemed to have a car. We never had one. Me and Noi never had one, ever. We took the train. So we were very grounded. We were raised that way. I have two sons, one's 30, one's 6. And I raised them to be grounded and to be, I don't want to get off the mentally stable. I think it's very important. Nothing to do with how that's another subject, but to be self-aware. I think it's very important. You have to know who you are, and it really goes back toพ่อแม่ how your parents raise you. But I think grounded. I don't know that word in Thai. ภาษาไทยไม่รู้จักคำนี้ Do
ติด
you?
ดิน
Huh?
ติดดิน
No. ติดดิน is that's different. Well, similar, but not quite the same. But just to be aware, self-aware. A lot of people are not self-aware.
What's the right way though as a father I mean even I don't have a child right now but I'm still not sure if I have one how should I tell them like okay because okay too much freedom isn't good as well especially in this country like it's quite dangerous out there but at the same time you don't want to be too strict you don't want to have like your children to be so stressed about being rich
With my son, I don't care what he does as long as he's productive. That's the key thing. As long as he's productive, do what you want. When I come across kids nowadays, I just had dinner with someone who just graduated. And I tell them, I tell kids, every kid I tell them this, in your early 20s, do what you want. Go for it. Because you have nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose because you haven't gained anything. So do what I encourage all of them, follow your dream, go out there and do it. But I would say, but once you reach 28, 29, you kind of be able to figure things out. If you haven't figured things out, you're in trouble. I tell every kid that, every kid. But in your early 20s, มันไม่มีอะไรจะแพ้ Go follow your dream. Go do it. But be productive. Be productive. When I say follow your dream, I mean not in a playful way, but in a serious way.
That's for the family matters and topics. I want to come back to the เด็กนอกเด็กอินเตอร์ that we were discussing about this. People potentially becomes country leaders.
Yeah,
in
they
the
are
futures.
because of who they are. Yeah.
And are you worried about them and the country, knowing them, what they are doing now?
I mean, it's different for everybody, right? I know people who are happy to be in their Falang bubble. And good for you. If they're happy, they're okay. That's them. For me, I feel like you're missing out so much. You've been คนไทย you live in Thailand, but you're missing out on the Thai side. That's me personally. Like I think it's wrong. If you could live here. I'm talking about the culture as much as the language. And then work-wise, if you're in your, I use the word ฝรั่ง bubble. I hope that doesn't offend anybody. You can work with the elite and I see that happening on a daily basis. But how would you work with the grassroots? You know, I do maintenance with our hotel, right? So when I go down to Pattaya, I go to my meetings. If I'm in my Falang hubble, how can I talk to the Chang? Huana Suan, the guard, is it different? You can't if you go to work. So for me, I think it's important. On the flip side, I see a lot of them just involved in the startup in that world. So I'm not saying what is right, what is wrong, but I feel that if you don't adapt, then you won't get to the Lakya, which I think is important for me. You won't experience another side of Thailand that for me is got so much to give. If you don't open up, it's a beautiful culture. Yeah, a lot of them don't know it. I dare say this because I know them. I'll tell you an interesting story. A group of Dek Inter, they opened a business and they were launching something. They was like, Pisuki, can you come give a talk, be on the board? I was like, sure. So I went. I walked in. There were about 300 people. 90% were Thai. The whole thing was in English. The whole thing was in English. When it was my turn to talk, I went up on stage and I went, คนไทยกี่เปอร์เซ็นต์ How many of you are Thai? You're like 90%. So I went, ผมจะพูดไทย. I kind of ประชด I was like, what is this? What's wrong with you guys? Like, what's wrong with you? You're คนไทย. Why are you doing this in English? You know? So I spoke in English. And then when I came off stage, one guy came up to me. He's a business owner. He said, Pisuki, you did the right thing. My business, I have a Facebook page. It's in Thai. If the whole thing was in English, คนไทยไม่กล้าเข้ามา ใช่ไหม Because Thai people are ไม่ใช่ถิ่นเราอะ and we live in Thai, so you're excluding all these Thai people. Like, what's wrong with you? But you live here. Like that's just stuck in my head. Like เป็นอะไรกันอะ My view. That's my view. That's my. We're in the hotel business. My mom always say, you cannot ignore the Thai base because it's our country. You had many hotels that only catered to the Chinese. During COVID, they all went bankrupt.
Speaking of you and the grassroots, the fact that you kind of embrace yourself with them, what are some good things and what are some lessons that you learn from them?
When when I say grassroots, it's the culture. And during bakery, I didn't know this. Is if you get to the bottom of the Thai culture, I think you would agree with me. And there was one trip that changed my life. I went to Koh Lanta, and I went to every beach. Okay, I'm gonna pick the most beautiful beach, and I found one. And at that beach, there was 2 hotels. One was a 5-star resort. The other one was a kebab run by Rasta. If I go stay in the 5-star resort, 5,000 baht a night, I'm in there.
In the bubble.
In the bubble. But if I go stay in the kebab with these Rasta that got high all day, I'll see the locals. I went and stayed with them. I stayed with them for 2 weeks. That trip changed my life. Because after that, I stayed in 300 baht, 500 baht. For me, I never went above 1,000 baht. Never. During my when I was on the road all the time. And that's how you see the world. And that's how you start to see, really see the world. You're not in your bubble. And I learned a lot from that. And I think Thais are, they're sincere in their emotion that comes through. They'll help you. I've people ask me, aren't you afraid riding by yourself? I was like, no, there's always help. Always. I'llตัวรอดได้ตลอด. I've never been in a situation where, oh, ตายแล้ว. Can't get out of this one, man. like always someone would show up and help. always. It's not about, this sounds cliche, but it's true. It's not about what car you drive, what clothes you're wearing. You're not trying to keep up with the Jones. Right? I prefer it. I prefer it. I'm not saying the other thing is bad. It's just not for me. It's not for me. It's not for me. It's a different thing. I don't have fun. For me, it's boring. ไม่หนุก
I think a lot of younger people are confused whether like, okay, follow your passion, do what you like, but then at the same time, we need to have a shelter, we need to have that security in life. What are some guide? I know that we cannot come up with answer that like one fits all, but then what are some guidelines from you who are able to do both things in the right way?
I think you have to follow your dream. I'm an advocate because my dream came true. I didn't think it would come true. I'm not a stupid kid. When I was a kid, I was a very mature kid, and I was like, "What? You're gonna play guitar and make a living? No way! I didn't think it would come true, and it did. All of my dream came true. All of my childhood dream was I wanted a state-of-the-art studio. I got it. I want to be a musician. I got it. One day I want to have 100 guitars. I had it. All my dream came true. So how can I tell people not to follow your dream, right? You have to follow your dream. And one thing I like to say is that I'm very interested in philosophy. I was a music philosophy major. In my view, once you break everything down, there's only two things in life. Once you break everything down, there's what makes you happy and earning a livelihood, responsibility. You have to have money. Oh, I don't care about money. Bullshit. You have to have money. That's called responsibility. So my advice is to follow your dream in a responsible way. ยกตัวอย่าง Bakery started off as a production house doing jingles commercial. We didn't plan to be a record label. Nobody likes doing jingles and commercial. That's earning a livelihood.
I didn't know this before.
Yeah, that's not my passion. Like to go into a meeting with an agency and then give them what they want. สนุกตรงไหนวะ But you make money, right? So you have to do that. Otherwise, how are you going to survive?
But I like how you frame it though, like follow your dream, but then you told stories about at the beginning, before you get to see the bakery music that everyone saw, you have to do things that you don't like, doing jingles, doing things that may not be sexy or fun, but you have to learn.
You have to be responsible. You have to make money. It's a fact. หนีไม่พ้น ใช่ไหม หนีไม่พ้น or the common thing that you hear all the time is, yeah, I went to Hollywood and when I reached 35, I knew it's time to quit because I wasn't getting anywhere. And you hear that a lot, right? So you have to รู้ตัว too. Meaning, this is important. You follow your dream, but you have to be self-aware. When I was a kid, I was the best guitar player for my age. 12. Every contest I entered, I won. After Thailand, I went to boarding school. I was the best again. I เข้าประกวด I won everything, right? So I thought I was good. I moved to New York City. I went to a jam session and I was the worst. Like I picked up my guitar, went home. I didn't cry, but I remember like, oh man, I suck. Those guys are so much better than me. And I remember sitting in my apartment thinking, how am I going to be in the music business if I suck? And then I remember thinking, so what else I can do? Okay, maybe I can go to เบื้องหลัง sound engineer. And that's what I did. I was a very mature kid. And then the next day I was like, okay, I'm going to go do this. I went to get a job, intern in a studio. Because I want to be be in music, but then I realized as a guitar player, I'm not good enough. I saw the other guys like, in Thailand, we're just a big fish in a small pond. I say that all the time. We are. We are. Go to LA, go to Nashville, go to New York, then you know how good, how bad you are. That's what I mean. You need to adapt. You need to know yourself. You want to be a singer, but you can't sing. Come on. There's a difference. Shama.
I just realized one thing that I'm gonna get to talk to you, who is the founder of Bakery Music, which is the labels that influence so much to my generation in terms of like love songs and the music. Did you see this like 10 years after, 20 years after, there are still people going to concerts, people still listen to your music back then?
Now?
Yeah.
Yes, I did. This might sound arrogant, but I did know this.
So you foresee that like 20 years from now,
Yeah.
50,000 of people still come to the concert
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
guitar that you made?
From not just me, but the music
The whole
that we
thing,
all
yeah.
made. I'm being very honest. I'm not. I feel blessed. I feel blessed that we can still sell out arena after 20 years. We're planning a big concert next year. We're expecting 30,000. I think we can do it. I'm so afraid the audience is going to misunderstand me. It doesn't surprise me. And the reason it doesn't surprise me is because what a lot of people don't realize about music, I'll tell you. The most important thing in music is the song. ตัวเพลง เนื้อทำนอง That's the most important part. I like to compare it to movies, which is the script. You can have the biggest budget, you can have Brad Pitt, George Clooney, the best effect, but if the script suck, the movie gonna suck. Same thing with music. If the songs suck, no matter who sings it, no matter how much money you put behind it, it's still a crappy song. That's my opinion. It's the most important thing. And we were blessed with good songs. In my opinion, Boy Kosayapong is the greatest songwriter ever. Obviously, I'm biased, but I still believe that. In my opinion, he's the greatest songwriter in Thailand ever, in my opinion. And I think a lot of people would agree with me. We were blessed with having great songwriters. And that is what people remember. You remember the song. And as a musician, I always knew that we had good songs. Sony owns our catalog now, right? And every year I get like 4 checks of work that I did 20 years ago. Wow, people still listen to it after all these years. So it's what our catalog is called evergreen. We have an evergreen catalog. And Sony left Thailand, by the way. They left Thailand in 2008. They left for about 12, 14 years. They came back in. And I just spoke to them, and they was like, oh, Pisuki, the bakery catalog is doing so well. People still listen to it. And it's because of the songs. And also because if you, like I used to say this a lot back during the music days, is there's passion and there's fashion. Fashion is what is in right now. If you just follow fashion, you won't last. You would come and go. But if you follow passion, that's the word I use, focus on making the music good, the song good, you'll last if you have talent. And I knew that we had good songs. And we had great artists. My opinion again, But I think a lot of people would agree with me. After 20 years, name me a singer that is better than Bot. I'll argue with you to death. And I think I'm right. Name me somebody who is better than Bot after 20 years have passed. P.O. T. He's not super famous, but he's the best. Nobody can sing like him. Till this day, nobody can sing like P.O. He's the only person I've seen, I know, that can play Rashamanka with only one guitar and his voice and control 50,000 people. I don't know anybody else that can do that. I always tell people that I feel fortunate that we were around during our time because back then you had a strong fan base. Nowadays you don't. I'm not talking about it's not the artist's fault, it's just the world, everything is so viral and everything goes up and come down. It's just the way, sometimes I feel bad for artists now. It's not them, I'm not talking about the music, I'm talking about the world has changed, and we were lucky to be around during a time where the fan base was we had that, and it has changed. It has changed. My brother had a solo album about 5 years ago, and one of his songs had like 5 million views. I told him, hey, no, I congratulate. And then he said, yeah, but that young band had 150 million. Had 150 million views. And then I told him, but you know what, Noi? If you did a concert at Impact and you charged 3,000 baht, people would pay to come see you, but they won't pay to go see that other band. Because the fans are different. So we're lucky.
Just a broad question could be, is there anything you regret? In life?
A lot. Yeah. I'm not, when people say,กูไม่เก่งขนาดนั้น, I'm not that good. I regret selling our publishing. When Prue play, I have to pay for my own song because I sold it.
But did you have a choice back then?
No, I didn't. Well, I believe I didn't have. What I know now, I would decide differently. But back then,
What
I was 27 and I didn't think I had a choice.
What could change if you know what you know
What
now?
I know now? Yeah. I would have dormant the company. I would have dormant the company during Tam Yang Kung and then reopen it. What I know now. Back then, I was like, Suki, you cannot fail. You cannot fail. You cannot fail, Suki. I was a kid. กูจะไม่แพ้
I see.
I regret we didn't continue with Silly Fool. They were with us. A lot of people don't know that. That was I should have fought for them. Yeah. But publishing is a big one. But now we have a good relationship with Sony, so all is good. A very good relationship.
Speaking of age, I've just reached 40. Asking as a brother to brother, พี่น้อง any advice? What were you doing? How were you when you were 40? And
I started working for the family. I've only just started working with not only, it's been 15 years now, but I came in late.
So it was bakery, and then you have your TV show?
It was bakery, it was TV, and then I was lost for 3 years.
You were lost?
Yeah, my son was like, Dad, you were semi-retired. And then after that, I did an album, One Championship. I was the one that brought that in. So I did that for a few years. I had the music festival. I was doing Gypsy, I'm still doing that now. And then I'm just getting back into music more now because the timing just seemed right. But I started helping the family when I was lost. Yeah, when I was kind of, what am I going to do, right? What am I going to do with my life? But your question 40
advice to average 40
I I'm always searching for the meaning of life. I'm just the way I am. I'm always searching, and I haven't found the answer. หาคำตอบไม่เจอ The only answer I found that I'm convicted, I believe in it, is balance. The only answer I found. You need balance in life. Everything needs to สมดุลน่ะหยินหยาง I believe in all that stuff. I believe you need that in life. I think it's important. Right now I'm in the studio. But at 7:30 I leave to go see my son. During the bakery days, no. I'm in there all day. You know, I think balance is important. Another thing that I strongly believe in, I like to analyze people. I would love to be a shrink. I think it's so interesting. People are so interesting. One thing that I strongly believe in is I believe the two worst things for a person in life is ego and insecurity. สองอย่างเนี้ย is what I see mess people up every day. And it's nothing to do with ฉลาดโง่ that's a different part of your brain. But I see these two things messing people up every day. I'll give you an example. You don't really meet evil people, right? แบบโอ้โหคนเลวอะไม่ค่อยเยอะนะ I met maybe one in my life. Usually they do the wrong thing or say the wrong because of ego and insecurity. Not because they're evil, โอ้โหเลว No. It's usually because of these two. So, and I see it screw people up every day. เห็นทุกวันเลย So if you can be in control of these two things, and this is why do you want to be in control? Because you want to be happy. And people are not happy because of these two things. I กล้าเถียงสองอย่างนี้แหละที่คนไม่มีความสุข is your ego and your insecurity. So if you can be in touch with those two things, you'll be happier. I work on myself every day because I want to be happy. So these are the two things. And I've realized that if you can, I can work with my mom now because I don't have an ego anymore. During the bakery days, forget it. We'll fight. We do fight back. I feel we're a lot better now because I got older. I got more mature. I'm more secure with myself. So these two things I think is so important. I would advise, if you're secure, then you're okay. Hey, Suki, for Thailand, you're pretty good, but for America, you suck. I'm like, yeah, you're right. เราก็ไม่เจ็บไงเราก็ I accept it. Self-awareness, knowing, a lot of people are not self-aware. If you're self-aware, you'll be happier. For me, my son being well-grounded is more important than education. I don't care too much about education. ใช่ไหมพวกเบเกอรี่เจ้าของไม่สอบตกกันทุกคนเลย3 คน But I want them to be, I think it's so important. I think being grounded is more important based on what I've seen around the world. Really important to know these things and why do it? It would you be happier. You จะมีความสุขการไม่มีความสุข make you do stupid things. ถ้าเกิดเอากันลึกๆเลยนะใช่ไหม like มันจะทำ make you say the wrong thing, do stupid. Nowadays I don't argue with people anymore. เรื่องงานนี่อีกเรื่องนึงนะ but like in general I don't. You know when you talk to somebody and they take out the phone to Google? I'm like, okay, you're right. Okay, bye. Because you can Google anything to support your narrative. คือโลกมันทุเรศสมัยนี้ you know, so I don't argue with people anymore. And the people that I see arguing, I'm like, เอาเวลามาจากไหนอะ where do you know the keyboard warrior? Where do you get the time to do that? มันกินเวลานะเว้ย Like, don't you have other things to do? But what for? ได้อะไรขึ้นมา Your ego. ใ ใช่ไหมมันไม่ได้อะไรขึ้นมาเลยมันไม่ได้มันได้อะไร I don't know what you're achieving business is different that's okay I got to this is business I need to do this but that's not arguing that's just negotiation that you got to do but if it's just like มาวางมาดกันอะไรกัน like you know you have to love Keanu Reeves right I saw his quote I kind of copied him he was like yeah I'm at the stage of my life now where if you say 1 + 1 is 5 you're right have fun you know but all of this goes back to just being mature learning being with yourself I'll give you a funny story we were building a hotel in Pattaya we had some problem with the contractor ผู้รับเหมา we didn't pay him I forgot what it was จำไม่ได้ we เหมือนกับ hold the check มีปัญหาอะไรกัน I can't remember the detail then he called me up คุณสุกี้ขอเจอหน่อย I was like yeah sure so we had a meeting and then he was likeคุณสุกี้you owe me 10 million and I was like then I told him I'm sorry I cannot approve this and then he went you're not the boss your mom's the boss and I'm like yeah she's the boss I don't give a shit you want to talk to her he was playing the ego card right which I don't care when I was 20 I would care now I don't so don't play the ego card with me it's not going to work because yeah she's the boss you can go talk to her you want to because I'm secure with myself now when I work with the family I'm not the boss I don't have problem I want to help you you tell me how you want me to help you and I'll help you that's but you have to ต้องโตขึ้นน่ะ you know to do that ใช่ไหมเป็นเด็กๆทำไม่ได้อะลูกไอเฮีย come on every rich kid feels that ใช่ไหม but that's because you're insecure you're a kid but once you grow up and you know yourself มากรู้จักตัวเองมากขึ้น then it's not an issue so that would be that's my advice to everybody is be in control know yourself and be in control of your ego and your insecurity and I think you would live a better life I really believe that because I see it เห็นทุกวันเลยอ่ะ
ดีขอบคุณมากครับสำหรับ
ยินดีครับ
ดีมากเลยฮะ